Hi everyone and welcome back to my channel. Thank you so much for joining me today. Today is going to be a fun video. We are doing a collaboration video with a friend of mine, Yari over at Lily Moon Vintage, and I challenged each other to a color challenge. So we're going to be using the same product, same color on two totally different furniture makeovers. So once you're done here watching my video, I encourage you to go over and check out hers. I will link all her information below as well. But what we're going to be using is Dixie Bell Silk in Baja Gray. It is one of the really prettiest grays I have used, and I absolutely love silk. About a month or so ago, I did a video showcasing silk, brushing it, spraying it, using it for the first time, and I absolutely love it. I've since used it a couple of other times, and it's going to be really fun to watch my furniture makeover and hers. So this is a little sneak peek of Yari's piece, and in her video, she focuses as well on the veneer top that she had challenges with. So not only did we challenge each other to a color challenge, but Yari had a lot of challenges with her top she's going to share with you in her video. Okay, so just a few notes about the pieces before we go ahead and get started. So this is a nightstand set that I've had in my shop for a few days now. They have been cleaned and prepped already, which means I have already wiped them down with a degreaser, deglosser. I like to use Cred Cutter, and that's what was used on these. And then we go ahead and wipe them down with a wet towel after that, and then a dry towel and let them dry. So these are all prepped and ready to go. I'm not priming them today because the paint we're using has a primer built in. It is an all-in-one, which is a primer, a paint, and a top coat. So the pieces are sitting on just literally random scraps. I put them under there to get them elevated off of the ground so that I can make sure that A, my drop cloth doesn't stick to them, and B, I have a little elevation so I can get underneath the piece as well. You will see me during the video flip them on their backside. I always do that to get everything underneath all nice and clean. So let's just go ahead and get started. All right, the spray gun is all loaded up and ready to go. I did thin this paint out with Dixie Bell Silk. It is okay to thin, and I do recommend it. If you want to know more about that, you can go check out my first Dixie Bell Silk video, and I talk about thinning it a little bit, and I actually show you. I'm going to use my Ehrlich's 5500 today to do this project. It is my first sprayer and still my favorite. As you will see, I did not prime these pieces as they didn't need to be. First of all, these aren't bleeders, and second of all, silk is an all-in-one paint, so it has a primer and a top coat built into the paint. If you do want to top coat it, that's absolutely optional for extra durability. Whenever you're spraying, it's key to go ahead and overlap. As you can see here, I'm overlapping each pass that I do so I don't get any type of a stripe or a pattern, and it'll be a really nice even finish. And in case you're wondering just how far away I actually am from the piece, I'm about 8 to 10 inches away. Right now my goal is just to get on good even first coat. It is really hard when you have these open cubbies, so you're going to see me just momentarily. I'll go ahead and flip these so that I can get all different angles and get everything completely covered. Just giving you another view so you can see how nice and evenly this sprays and goes on, and to make sure when you are spraying to definitely overlap so that you don't have any striping. You've got a nice even finish. I'm going to show you my little trick that I use. If I can keep the drawer upright, I'm going to show you my trick. These drawers are a little bit light and they're a little wobbly on their own, and as you can tell, I'm obviously having a hard time. When the air hits my drawer, it keeps wanting to fall over. All right, I think I finally got it. So what I'm doing is just taking an old piece of cardboard here, and I'm gonna show you how I do this little trick where I don't have to tape off my drawers and I get no overspray on the interior of the drawer or the sides of the drawer. It's just a time saver for me. Also, it's a cost savings. I don't have to invest in more product to go ahead and cover my drawers. All right, so I want to show you up close so you can see right after. This has not been cleaned, and as you can tell, there is zero overspray. All right, so this was the end of our first coat completely done. Not too bad for that coverage. Dixie Bell Silk covers so incredibly well. I'm going to get in really close so you guys can see. All right, so now I've gone ahead and turned my pieces on their back, and as you can see, we have a lot of area still to cover. It's really difficult when they're standing up to get all of that area. So I'll always lay my pieces down on their backside so I can get underneath, and in this case, under the cubby. All right, so now once again, we're going to go ahead and flip. Since these are so small, it is very easy to manipulate these. I've gone ahead and turned them on their actual tops so that I could get what I call the undercarriage of the piece and make sure everything looks really nice and complete. Even though this is not something that you're going to really see, if you catch a glimpse from it from the side, you might, so I always do the underneath. All right, so now I want to show you guys really up close. This is second coat and pretty much final coat. What I have found with Dixie Bell Silk is 2 coats is pretty good. I may go back for just a couple little touch-ups if I have a dry spot after inspection to see if I need, but I do not need a full 3rd coat. 2 coats typically does it with Dixie Bell Silk. All right, so that part of the video is now finished and we're going to move on to the segment where we're going to sand the tops. Now I haven't decided yet if I'm going to stain them or if I'm going to be using some sort of a paint wash on them, but I get asked all the time, why do you paint first and then sand and make a mess and then stain after that? Well, one of the reasons is because I don't want to tape off any freshly done stain job. Oil-based products take longer to dry, so if I were to do that first, then I have to wait at least 3 to 5 days before going ahead and painting my piece because I'm spraying, and so I would have to cover that stained top. So that's one of the main reasons why I do it the way I do it. The other one is sometimes the style of the piece, and so I want to go ahead and paint up above the lip, and I just, if I find that it works for me better. So I also have a dust collection system, so my dust is extremely minimal. I wait for the paint to be dry, usually a couple of hours or at least the next day. Sometimes I wait. In this case, it's been a couple of hours, so we're gonna go ahead and proceed. I'm not too terribly concerned about it. It won't stick to the paint or make a mess. So let's go ahead and get started with the next segment, sanding. Right, now for the sanding part, you guys have seen me sand 100 times, so I'm not going to go through the whole sanding bit. I have a lot of other videos on here that cover that. I wish the sanding went as fast as I speeded it up for you guys, but in any case, got all the finish off, and then I realized... All right, so the piece is veneer, and I was kind of on the fence whether or not it was at first because the rest of it was solid wood. Anyway, as I sanded, I realized it was a veneer, and there was a spot in which I burned through. When you burn through, the stain isn't going to take the same, and it will impart differently, giving you not that nice finish. So I decided to change up and do a wash instead. Since I decided to change up the look of the top, I went back and I went ahead and sprayed up and over like I normally do on the lip. Because it's not solid wood, I'm not going to be able to sand that down and make it look really nice for stain, and we're going to go ahead and do a paint wash instead. So I'm going to go ahead and sand the second one so it looks identical to the first one. My paint washes, they're about 50% paint, 50% water, and I'll show you the process on how it goes on, and I will also list the colors here for you. I have other videos that do showcase the paint wash, and I'm not going at warp speed, so you can definitely go check those out. In this case, I am going to go kind of quickly because it's this very long segment and it's very repetitive. Basically, I am using 2 different colors, a lighter and a darker, and I just go back and forth and switch out the colors. After I apply everything, I go ahead and wipe it back. In this case, I'm using the box of white rags because they are lint-free and it creates a really nice finish without putting a lot of lint or anything in my piece. I'm not too concerned about the sides because I can go ahead as I'm wiping that off with water, it's coming off, and I can touch up paint if necessary. I always like to show you how much paint I used, and as you can see, those 2 nightstands did not use a ton of paint. So because my paint is fresh and I definitely don't want to rub too terribly hard to try to get that wash off, I did get most of it off, but I'm going to go ahead and go over it with my brush. Here I'm using my Klingon F50 and I'm just brushing on the Dixie Bell Silk. It brushes on equally as nice, I have to say, as it sprays. The finish just comes out so beautiful. Half the time you wouldn't even know if you brushed it or if you sprayed it. All right, now it's time for the top coat. So my original thought was I was just going to go ahead and top coat the tops because they definitely need to be sealed. So this is what I'm doing. I'm using my Ehrlich's 5500 again, and I'm using General Finishes High Performance Top Coat. It's my go-to top coat choice that I absolutely love. This is in a satin finish. Here is the final top. I love the way it came out, but I did notice that I was getting it was too hard for me to control the overspray of the top coat, so I went ahead and top coated the entire pieces. All right, you guys, that is it. We are at the end of the video. Thank you so much for watching today. And don't forget to hop on over to Yari's page, Lily Moon Vintage, and check out her furniture makeover too. Thank you so much for subscribing. If you are not subscribed, make sure you go ahead and hit that subscribe button so that you can get all of my latest videos and be a part of my YouTube community, which helps support my channel and keep me going. If you have any positive comments, please place them down below, or any questions, because I love engaging with you guys and will answer all of your questions always. Thank you, and I'll catch you on the next video.